Along with all this came an undeniable awareness of feeling another person, my twin flame, in the ether. He was there, on the inside, and I was sensing what he was sensing, feeling what he was feeling. He was part of my energetic makeup, and an undeniable part of me. At first I thought I was insane, or that perhaps my sensory perception jumped up a few notches. My mind was full of questions. What is this? What does IT mean? The strangest thing was that at first, when the energies started to flow, I could not remember one thing about the time I had spent with him. I was surprised by my own amnesia, unable to recall that we had worked together, what he looked like, or why exactly he was no longer part of my life. What I did remember was looking into those intense blue eyes for the very first time and seeing my own soul, the timelessness of it all. I remembered what it felt like to have someone believe in me and accept me. I remembered how he always read my thoughts and knew me like no one else. How he was the only person to ever really understand me. Every day I tried not to think about it, but memories kept resurfacing in my mind, returning to me as clear as if they happened only yesterday. I remembered how he told me I was his mirror image. I remembered that kiss on the forehead, then standing at the train station with him that first night, then kissing him on Pont des Arts, spending all those days and nights together, the laughter, the tears. The following week I got chatting to a guy at work who had been there for a couple of months, but that I had never spoken to. We found ourselves talking about travel, a passion me and my twin flame share, and I found myself thinking how much he reminded me of my twin flame. Little did I know this man would become an important part of this stage of our journey, since a few months later he also found himself reunited with his twin flame after 20 years apart and struggled to accept her unconditional love, just as my twin flame struggled with accepting mine. Everywhere I turned I was being constantly reminded of my twin flame. Every conversation I had, people I overheard talking, the songs I heard, everything served to tell me that I had to find him again. The speed and frequency with which events, signs and synchronicities unfolded left me in no doubt that the universe was trying to tell me something. This, combined with the intense energies I was feeling which seemed to relate to him, made it impossible to concentrate on anything. I wasn't totally sure why he was now suddenly such a part of my life again, but I emailed him, feeling both pushed and guided to do so. I had no choice. I had erased his email address, but suddenly after 3 years it popped back into my mind. I just wanted to know he was happy. I wasn't expecting to see him. I didn't know if I even could or should. He replied within hours of receiving my email, telling me how much he had missed me all these years. Nothing could have prepared me for the flow of energy I was now experiencing from just thinking about him. I could feel the slightest variation, the slightest vibration, the slightest shift. I seemed to be able to feel his energies resonate and interact with mine. Soon we were emailing and calling each other daily, discovering how closely our lives had once again reflected one another during the time we were apart. Amazingly, he had also moved to the same country, right before I had, and was now living less than an hour's drive from me. Every day the energies between us kept intensifying to the point that it felt like a huge energetic vacuum was pulling us together with a force that was simply beyond our imagination. The connection took on a life of its own, and we were both swept up in its undeniable magnetic force. Little did I know that in only a few weeks I would be back in his arms on the other side of the Atlantic, discovering just how deep and intense our connection really was, and simply picking up where we had left off last time. Kunda 1. What did my Kundalini awakening teach me? My Kundalini awakening hammered into me the fact that my twin flame and I were created together, never apart, never separate. Always spiritually connected, always one. He is always with me, and he was here all along. My spirit was lifted up into a moment where no time and space existed and where he and I melded as galaxies were born. We were held in the warm embrace of God, infused in his light and power, yet where I knew that we are nothing but small particles in the vibrating heart of God, merged in all that is and in each other so deeply that it would be impossible to untangle God from what is between us, or either one of us from our connection with God. We are bound together for eternity by God. Our spiritual growth always a reflection of the other. It was only years later that I learned that I had experienced a Kundalini awakening. Funnily enough, for many years I had referred to it as a spiritual orgasm, because that's what it had felt like. With time I realized that this mystical expansion was just the beginning of my journey, and that we don't just become spiritual angelic beings overnight. Rather, we are given a glimpse of a higher reality which is now within our view and reach, and we are given the tools to get there, but we still have all our baggage to shed and internal work to do. Our only hope lies in the promise that the bliss and serenity we feel when we concentrate on the love and on becoming our true self will eventually lead us home. We hope this channel has helped you discover where to start on your actual paths. Please like, subscribe, share, and leave your suggestion in the field below. With all the love to you beautiful souls.